Hi friends, hi Ameera, nice to meet you. Finally, we could make it. I'm very grateful to you that you agreed to meet me today and answer some questions. It's my pleasure to welcome you. And let's start our interview. And I would like to ask you to introduce a little bit yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? Anything you like to share with us so that our listeners know you a little bit better?
Okie dokie. So my name is Ameera, and I'm 32 years old. I am American, and I am currently living in Cairo, Egypt, and my husband is Egyptian, and I am a stay-at-home mom and wife.
That's really great. And can you please tell us how long do you live in Egypt and how about your first visit? How did it happen?
Okay, so I came here, it was May 23rd, I believe, of 2014. It was the day before President El-Sisi was elected. And I have been here now, I was 24 at that time. I've been here now 7 years and 5 months. And my first impression when I got here was I was sitting on the plane, right? Even before I landed, I had a first impression. I'm on the plane, I'm reading The Butterfly Mosque by Willow Wilson. It's about an Egyptian guy and girl love story. Anyway, so I look out the window, we're about to land, and I just see like millions of satellite dishes on the roofs of all the buildings. I'm like, what? Why is all these satellite dishes? Like, it's so crazy, you know? I get off the plane. They're playing a very famous song here called Bushra's Kir, and it's like it was a really popular song during the election time, and
Yeah.
it was playing in the airport. And then I get in my taxi and all these people are like fighting to, take my luggage. So I'm like seeing it's pretty chaotic, but it's a beautiful chaos. It's a very disorganized but yet organized, beautiful chaos. So that was my impression, and I love it here. I absolutely do.
That's really nice. So you arrived to Cairo or to some other city when you went to Egypt for the first time?
I've stayed in Cairo. I've been living here, but I have visited other cities. But always, most of my time is spent right here in Cairo, the capital.
But
I have been to
mhm.
Alexandria. I've been to Fayoum, Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, El Gouna, and some others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I've been all over. But I really want to go to Upper Egypt, hoping to visit there soon. A lot of history there, a lot of temples and
Yeah.
cool monuments, and I'm really into, Egyptology and, the ancient hieroglyphics and all of that, mummies. I love that, and that's what's so special about Egypt is we have all of this ancient civilization
Yes.
culture all around us. The pyramids are like maybe a 45-minute drive from me. I live in Zamalek, which is an island right in the center of the River Nile. I live right along the Nile. If you look
Wow.
out my
You're
window,
lucky.
you see the Nile
I
River.
can
So
imagine
that's
how
one.
beautiful it is there, yes. And just you can see pyramids all the time. Anytime you wish to go,
No, no,
you
I
can
can't
visit.
see the pyramid. But if you drive just like on the highway to 6th of October, you can see them from a distance because they are massive. And when I saw them for the first time, it was mind-blowing. They are so much bigger in person than what any textbook or photo on the internet actually shows. It's wow, how'd they get there, you know? It's a
Yes.
mystery.
Yes. May I ask, were you interested in Egyptian culture before? Why did you decide to visit Egypt?
Well, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, in America, which is the southern state. It's right next to Texas.
Yes.
And I got a job working at a Middle Eastern restaurant that was run by Egyptians, owned and run. Cleo's Mediterranean Cuisine was the name of it. And I kind of discovered Islam through there and discovered more about Egypt through there. So I chose Egypt because it was what I had enough information about from the people I had met and worked with and for, and from, just having that experience with these people made me feel comfortable to have that country as my choice of go-to, because after I
Mhm.
converted to Islam, I didn't really immediately plan on going to Egypt. I mean, I could have gone to any Muslim country, but I mean, I actually was staying in America for a while, but I moved here for several reasons, a couple of which are in America, right now with the bigotry and the Islamophobia,
Yeah,
I
that's
was a
true.
hijabi in that time. I used to wear a hijab, but I don't anymore for some other reasons we'll talk about later. But I did experience like, a little bit of racism,
Hmm.
and I did get assaulted one time for wearing the scarf. And then besides all of the Islamophobia nonsense, trying to find a Muslim husband is a challenge in and of itself in the States, because a lot of, no, I'm sorry, all of the men that I met there were not really the best example of, not even as a Muslim, but even as like a husband.
Yeah, I can
Most of,
imagine.
you know, it's a very closed culture over here in the Middle East. It's not as open. There are some open parts of it, but it's not like in the West where everything goes. You know what I mean? So especially when it comes to like sex before marriage and things like that.
Hmm.
So when you're taking an Arab guy and you're taking him from, it's his first time traveling to America or Europe or Australia or whatever, and it's his first time, he's young maybe. I mean, he's like a kid in a candy store, let's be honest. So it's not really the best experience that I had trying to find a Muslim husband in America, especially like any like Arab one,
Yes.
because the ones I had met were either on drugs or having like an issue with prostitution addictions, or they were cheating on their wives, lying about them being married, or wanted me to be a second wife or a third or fourth wife, or any of
Yeah.
this craziness. Or they were after a visa, or they were just trying to have sex because they see Western women as easy because they don't know anything yet. They're not as experienced
Yeah.
in life and well traveled enough yet. So, especially when it's their first time in the States, it's not really the best. And I don't know, I guess they just feel like they have like free range to just do whatever they want. So I decided to come here to kind of make my chances a lot better. And even that, when I moved here, it still took me about 3.5 years before I met my husband while I was living here by
Hmm.
myself. So there's a lot of challenges as a foreign woman living here trying to find a husband, but it's definitely less challenging than what it was in America.
Yes, I can imagine because I know not only in America, I think everywhere, not the best people from Arab world or any other country come, and it's really difficult to find your true love. Yeah, it's not easy at all.
Yeah. And I'm definitely not saying that all Arab Muslim guys that go to a Western country are just gonna, go crazy and,
Yes, of course not.
mess with anything that walks. No, they're not. I have some friends, very few though, that are in, very successful marriages
Yeah.
in their own country, and maybe they brought him over there and it was his first time there. So a lot of this depends because, Egypt is a very like India. It's where you're living, right? In India?
No, I'm not living in India. Okay, my husband is from India, but I'm living in Netherlands, actually, in Europe.
Okay, no, no, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
But yeah, like India, Egypt is a really classist country. Like there's a class
Yes.
system. So if the guy you're with is coming from a family that's maybe not on a certain point of like worldliness and exposure and education and having like experience dealing with other nationalities, they're going to have some serious one-way views when you bring them over to your country. And I remember when I was working with the owner of the Egyptian restaurant in New Orleans I was telling you about. It was his first time, in America. He hadn't been there long. And he wasn't the best person, by the way, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He would say to me, I know the Egyptian culture, and it's just like the American culture. I see NBC2 and all. I'm like, okay, no. What you watch on NBC2, I didn't know what NBC2 was in that time, but it's an American movies channel here in Egypt. And so he's thinking that it's like the same because here on NBC2 they cut out a lot of like kissing or intimate scenes. So he's thinking that our culture was like his when it comes to like keeping these things,
Yeah. Mhm.
no, it's not. They edit everything here on the TV. So yeah.
Yes, that's true. And I would like to ask you, what is your favorite place in Egypt? Do you like Cairo the most, or maybe some other places? Because I have never been there, so it would be really interesting for me to know your opinion. What would you like to recommend to visit if someone decide to come to Egypt?
My favorite place is where I live, in Zamalek. Zamalek is like I said, an island right in the center of the Nile River. It's also in central Cairo. It's also equally like distant to everywhere else, like equal distance to New Cairo versus equal distance to like, Mahdi and Sheikh Zayed and October. Like you're in the middle of
Yes.
everything. Like Cairo is one big circle, Zermatt's right there in the center. So I do like that I'm equally close to everything. But I also like that Zamalek is unique because we have a mixture of both Western and Eastern lifestyles
Mm-hmm.
all combined into like one island. But it is overall the most westernized place to live. Like it's a very like how I am now, like it's very normal to see women walking around with their hair uncovered
Yes.
or even like in a mini skirt or a dress or
Oh,
shorts. So
that's
a lot of people
interesting.
think, oh, when it comes to Egypt, do I have to cover or do I? No, but it depends where you are. Now, out of respect, if I'm going to what we call like a local area, like a more, traditional area, I do cover out of
Mhm.
respect because that is the culture of that area that I'm going into. And I don't want to draw unwanted attention to myself for one. And two, I want to be respectful because this is their culture
Yes.
and their way of being modest in that area. So I want to, adhere to those traditions just as much as, Americans are always like, oh, try to assimilate when you come to America, be American. So yeah, I try to respect every
Yes.
area of Egypt that I go into by doing what is culturally norm in that region.
Yes, I agree with you because I know a lot of tourists, they come to the country and then they just start wearing the same clothes that they wear at home, and it's kind of crazy because locals, they don't understand why the women are wearing short skirts, and they just get extra attention, and sometimes they don't like it. But it's not the fault of the
Yeah.
locals. Yeah, you should respect their culture and understand what you have to wear.
Exactly. And there are places, if you want to dress, in a bikini or even go topless, we have places for that here, okay? There are topless beaches in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, and I've been there, I've seen them, and it's like something that I think a lot of people don't realize, Westerners in particular who have never come to Egypt, they view, especially if they're a convert to Islam, they kind of view Egypt like it's just going to be one giant traditional, like very, conservative
Yeah.
society. That is absolutely not true. We have parts of cultures for everyone. If you want to live like a free life, okay, we have that. If you want to live in a closed life and you wear a niqab, we have that too. You can do whatever you want. Just pick where you're going to live that, suits to how you want to live.
Yeah. You have to choose what is more comfortable for you and where you want to live. Yeah, of course. Because there are so many prejudices about Egypt. I know that people think that all Egyptians are just attention freaks. They just go to every woman. They just like to touch them. I heard so many stories from my friends. They said that don't go there because you just walk out on the street and someone will just grab your hand or touch you. I was, come on, it cannot be that. If you behave
No, I mean,
normal, if you don't smile to everyone,
maybe
if you don't, yes,
maybe if like you go to Imbaba and I'm walking around like with my hair out and like wearing a mini dress. Okay, no one's gonna do that over there, first of all. But like if I did, I'm sure that someone would try to do all the things that you said. So it's like about common sense. And yes, there should be no reason for sexual harassment, no matter what the woman is wearing. I agree 100% with that. However, this is their traditions and their culture of dress in that neighborhood, so you should try your best to be respectful of their beliefs. So, there's no problems on both sides, I guess. But yeah, for sure, no, it's not okay to, it's not like, oh, she's wearing a mini dress, it's okay to do it. Oh, because she was wearing, no, but still try to respect the place. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
yes, but I know many women, they don't know Eastern culture very well, and they just, they look at the guys, they smile to them, and of course they think that they're flirting with them. So it's totally different culture. I think you should, before going there, you should prepare yourself a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some men here, like depending where you go, like if you smile to a guy, he'll think, oh, she likes me,
Yes,
But
that's
here in
true.
Malik, if you're gonna live in a westernized area or expat oriented area or like an upper class area or upper middle class area, that's gonna be normal for them. Like if you smile, they smile back, and they're not gonna think anything of it because they have experience with other cultures and they've traveled or whatever, and they're not maybe at a low educated level or they don't come from like a household where women are second class citizens. We have all kinds of different habits and traditions
Yeah.
here. Egypt is very layered, lots of layers upon layers and subclasses and sublayers of classes. So it's all about who you're talking to, and where you are that will determine your experience here as a foreigner.
Yeah, that's true. And let me ask you my favorite question, which I ask all the girls, I'm talking. How did you meet your husband? Can you please share your journey, your beautiful love story? How did it happen? Did you, okay, you were living
Yeah,
in Egypt already, right? When you met him?
yeah. I was already living here, and I'd had really bad experiences. Not all bad, but a lot were bad or like not what I wanted. Trying to find a husband. I even had a failed marriage here that lasted for 3 months because he was trying to scam me. But I'm unscammable, okay? I don't work, I don't have money, and I'm sure as hell not taking you to America because I love it here. So you're not really gonna get anything from me. I'm unscammable. So yeah, left that mess. But 3.5 years into living here, I finally met my husband. I was actually leaving my friend Lexi's house, my little Australian friend that used to live here. And I decided to stop by one of my favorite little restaurants on the way home and, grab a bite or whatever. And I walk in and I see one of my friends there, acquaintance actually. His name was Gamal.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, come sit with us. And he was sitting with this really beautiful girl that was like from Kuwait. And then Amr was there too. And I was like assuming that they were together, Amar's my husband, and the Kuwaiti girl together. So anyway, so I sit down and we started talking, and he introduced me to them. And then, after some time they left, and then Amr stayed behind. And, I remember one of the first things I said to him, I said, do you speak French? Because he had like this French twist in
Yes.
his Arabic, which I've heard before, this specific accent,
Yeah.
And he's like, how'd you know? I'm like, oh, I've heard this kind of speech before, and I love it, it's so great. So we got to know each other a little bit, we exchanged phone numbers, and then we talked to each other like every day after that, and it just kind of grew from there. But the funny thing, the guy that I was friends with, Jamal, however you want to say it, depends what country you're from. He's actually the son of the former president of Ghana, and I had no idea that.
Wow.
Like this whole time, like I'm hanging out with the son of the former president of an African country, and he's also a famous journalist on TV. I had no idea until Amr told me. He's like, you know who he is, right? I'm like, yeah, he's my friend. He's like, no, he's like blah 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 blah. I'm like, no way, he never said anything.
Amazing. Yeah.
That was the fun experience of how we met, and it just sort of blossomed, and we married literally 3 months later after we met.
Oh, wow, that happened so fast. So in these 3 months, you were communicating all the time. You kept meeting each other.
Yeah, we talked every day. He called me. Of course, I'm not chasing a guy, okay? So he called me like at least twice a day. We'd meet sometimes every other day. And it was Ramadan in the middle of when we met. And then he had to go with his family to Sahel, to their beach home.
Mhm.
And he would still communicate with me, every day while he was gone. And when he came back, we did enjoy some iftar together in one of the restaurants here. And I knew after about a month into it, like, oh, this is the one, this is the guy. I knew it. When you have enough experience here in the Arab world with dating, and I've dated not just Egyptians, but other nationalities as well that maybe I was speaking to or friends with. I've met a lot of people from all over. I've traveled to other Arab countries as well. And when you start to get that knowledge, when you finally meet someone who fits into your checklist, which I had a checklist, you just know. So
Yeah, that's really amazing. So you understood almost immediately that he is the one, but which qualities of your husband impressed you the most? What did you like about him?
I love that he was well traveled. He came from a really good family. They were very worldly, and he had his. Can I swear? uh, he had his stuff together. Okay. So like he had like a stable job. He had independence. He had like all of his ducks in a row. He was very responsible,
Mhm.
and he was over the age of 40, which is what I was looking for. I was 27 when I met my husband. At that time, he was 40. and my cutoff was 40. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, you shouldn't dog like younger guys. Absolutely, but everyone's different. Everyone has exceptions. But statistically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
Arab men over the age of 40 are more likely to have it together, okay, in all aspects of their life. So had he been any younger, I don't know if I would have talked to him, but yeah, he just had everything together, and he was very polite, respectful, such a gentleman. Like, chivalry did not die with him, opening
Oh,
the
yeah.
door for you,
I can
treating you like
imagine.
yeah, just so respectful, and like he's so eloquent and diplomatic, and like all of the qualities that a woman would look for in a gentleman, like he had.
Mhm.
And I really, really adored that, because these are things, like these qualities, a lot of young men lack today,
Yeah, that's true.
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. And how fast did you meet his family?
I think like maybe 2 weeks after we first met, he took me to his family. I was really
I
nervous.
can imagine.
Yeah, I thought like, oh my God, I was like, oh please God, please don't let this family be crazy, because I had met other guys that I thought were really interesting. But then when they took me to meet the family, like his family was like a bunch of crazy people. And I had a lot of experience dealing with that. Like my ex-mother-in-law was a monster. And if anyone reads my blog, they'll know exactly why she was
Yeah, I can
crazy.
imagine what you mean. Yeah, it is because in Eastern culture, when you marry a guy, you marry the whole family.
Like the
So
whole family,
yes,
yes, girl. Yes, girl. Oh my God. So, no, but they were really accepting of me from the very beginning. So nice. I have amazing relationship with all of my in-laws and
great.
my mother-in-law and everybody. Yeah, they're a wonderful, wonderful group of people. And I couldn't, I consider myself really lucky, because I know a lot of women here who come here and get married, and their life is hell with the in-laws,
Yeah,
especially if they choose to live with them. And if anyone is watching this, don't do it. Don't live with the in-laws. Don't. Trust me. It's a huge mistake. Don't do it. And it's not normal. Most Egyptian women would never accept this, so you shouldn't either.
yeah, and I know many Western women. They live in and one and think it's okay, it's fine, it should be like that in the Eastern culture. Yeah, and it's not easy, indeed. Only if you have,
No.
even if you have golden and vases, still it is better to live separately. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So they accepted you instantly, and you really had great relations with them. And what about your family? How did they react when you
Oh,
decided to go to Egypt and when you told them that you are going to marry an Egyptian?
my family's always been really supportive of all of my decisions, whether they be,
Hmm.
a little bit off the charts or not. Even when I converted to Islam, they were really supportive of that. My family is Christian, except for my grandmother.
Hmm.
I have a grandmother in Chicago, Illinois, who is Muslim,
Hmm.
and she converted about like 20 something years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. So it is kind of normal in my family for that. Also, my great grandparents, my great grandmother traveled to Egypt in the past.
Hmm.
She was part of a group, Daughters of the Nile, I believe it was called. I have one of her pins that she used to wear. And she used to come here and do like ladies' meetings and charity and stuff. So, like, a lot of my family has traveled. My grandmother's been to Lebanon, Syria, and
Oh,
Jordan. So we have like we've been exposed to the Middle East. We haven't been like living under a rock or never left our hometown or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with not leaving your hometown, but I do find that when people have parents that are just like staying in
yeah,
one place, they find it's harder for them to accept,
that's
a different belief system that their child is going into, or accepting like a foreigner, especially like Arab or something, into their family. They do have a lot of problems with that. I've had multiple friends whose family disowned them because they converted and moved abroad or married an
true.
Arab guy, and it's really sad because they have this horrible stereotype of, whatever they've seen on TV, and it's just not like that in real life.
Yeah, that's true. There are so many stereotypes, and they don't show good things about the country. They always show the worst, and of course, people believe that. And
Yeah.
if
And I do kind of feel like there is this white privilege crap going on, because like a lot of the things that are going on in Egypt or other Arab African countries and the Middle Eastern countries are happening in Europe, and happening in America, like FGM, for example, female genital mutilation.
Mhm.
Nobody talks about how 100,000 European women are subjected to this every year. No, but they got to focus on it when it happens in Egypt or anywhere else. And by
Yeah.
the way, that's illegal here. It's illegal in Egypt to do that. And yes, it still happens. And we are, as a country, fighting really hard to combat this problem that exists mostly in rural areas and villages,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. And how did you get married? Did you have traditional Egyptian wedding, or how does it happen? Because I never had any Egyptian friends, so I don't know. I guess it's a little bit similar, maybe to Indian wedding. Maybe it's also lasts for a few days. I don't know if I'm right or not. Maybe you can tell us more about it.
In Tunisia, I believe the wedding there lasts for 2 or 3 days, something like that. But here in Egypt, okay, I didn't have a traditional Egyptian wedding because, well, my husband and his family aren't really this kind of family to go to that aspect. They're more, I think, westernized, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
So we had like something small and intimate, you know. We had close friends, close families. We got married on the Nile, along the Nile, at the Sofitel. It's
Yes.
here in Malik. We had an outdoor wedding there,
Mhm.
just something small, and then we all ate at a Moroccan restaurant. And you know, we had a photographer, and I had a makeup artist, and I had like a hairdresser. I had all of that. That Egyptians do that. They
Yes.
do get the photographer and all the other things. But we didn't have like what is cool in Egypt now is having like basically a what I like to call a concert wedding, where it's like you're about to watch like Amr Diab or Shireen like pop out on stage. No, it's just a wedding, like for real. Like they have bubble machines and fog machines and strobe lights and you know like belly dancers.
Yes.
Oh, I love the belly dancers at the weddings here. They put like this candle bra on their head.
Yeah.
They light the candle or they're electric. And they do like a little belly dance before the bride comes out. They do that to introduce the bride. So that's cool. I have been to weddings like that, but we didn't have all of that. That's not something that either of us wanted. So
So you had
keep it
more
simple.
simple ceremony just among friends and relatives.
Yeah, just for, like close friends and close family members. Like if we wanted something big, it would have been crazy because you know Egyptians have really big families. And like my husband's family, like a lot of them are in Cairo, but like his extended family is from Ghafaria. And there's like a million of his relatives. I've been there one time and I met them, and they're wonderful, lovely people. But it would have been like we would need, I think, the whole Marriott or like the whole entire floor of a hotel just to invite everyone. And it just seemed like a headache. We were just wanting to have something
Mhm.
small and intimate. Neither one of us are the type of people that want to have a concert wedding.
Yeah.
So we're more simple. We're simple.
Yeah, and I would like to ask you what, because both of you still from different background, culture, okay, religion, okay, you have the same now, but was there something what was difficult to accept or understand for you, or everything just went smooth?
No, everything went really smoothly. Literally the only thing that my husband and I like sometimes have different ideas about or like perspectives about is something like something stupid. Food portions and like size and like of food and like sugar. I eat a lot of sugary things. I like American size of like giant.
Yeah.
Like this is my normal. Like okay, like this is my normal size. Okay, I don't want the little ball. I want this one normal size. Okay. So we do have like different perspectives when it comes to like you know sizes of foods and things like that. But I mean that's something so little, and we don't argue about it. You know, we just laugh about it. But I asked my husband literally a million questions, like before we got married.
Mhm.
We took the time we were dating to get to know each other about our habits, our belief systems, and you know what to expect, you know, later. So it wouldn't be a surprise. And I knew which questions to ask, so it wouldn't be like a shock later. So that is, and I wrote a blog about it. It's called the Before Marriage Talk, and it goes over all the topics that I discussed with my husband prior to marriage, along with a few others that I see that pertain to some other women I have met.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful because there are some women I know who, you know, married into a more close conservative family, and then it became an issue that she didn't want to wear the hijab, or she didn't want to cook Egyptian food every day, or she wanted to
Yeah.
go out by herself. It's just these things you need to talk about. So it's not a
Yeah.
shock later and you have a divorce later, especially if you've had a kid. You don't want to like marry someone and then have a kid and then realize Egypt is unadaptable or your relationship is not what you thought it would be. You need to figure out all of these things before you even tie the knot so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, that's true. Because my mother, she also had a friend who actually got married to Egyptian man. I think it was in maybe in 80s, long, long time ago. He was studying in Russia, and then they went back to Egypt. And he's from very rich family. I think some of his relative was a president or something like that. It wasn't like a poor guy or something from like a low class family, but it was really a good family. And she couldn't live there because it was a wonderful house. She didn't have to do anything because there were people who were helping with everything, with cooking, with cleaning. So she was sitting at home all day long. And she tried to meet some Russian friends who also lived in Egypt at that time. And then her father-in-law, he told her it's not a very good thing that you're going alone because it's not common that women go alone somewhere and meet some other women. So you should stop that, please. You have to stay at home. Okay, you can go, but with your husband or with us or with relatives, with someone. And then she just couldn't tolerate it anymore. She got a daughter, yes, and when the daughter was little, she just moved back to Russia. And I heard many stories like that, and it wasn't like some family, but still the guy didn't like that she's going outside alone, for example.
Yeah, this is like a really big red flag. Unless you're with like an ultra conservative family, and this really honestly is normal because there are some families here, and I used to live above one that the women in the home practice purdah,
Yeah.
which is like a form of seclusion, female seclusion in the house. Like they literally don't leave the house unless they have to go to the hospital or something. Like, they do everything at home. They don't go out, not even if with their husband. Like they believe women should be at home. That does exist here. It's not very common, but it does exist. But if you're with a guy and he's telling you, oh, and I had this happen to me with my first husband here, telling me, you shouldn't go outside without me. It's not safe for you. You'd get kidnapped or something. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh my God, like that's crazy because I was going out alone all the time. Didn't have any problems. But according to him,
Yeah.
I was going to get kidnapped and raped if I went out. And he did this as a form of control and manipulation
Yeah.
because he knew the situation I was in being married to him was not normal at all. And he wanted to protect me, like keep me in from like seeing the reality of my situation because God forbid I should meet someone else that tells me what's happening to me is wrong. He can't have that because then he might not be able to scam me. So they try to keep you in a cage so they can
Yeah.
get what they want from you. And this is a red flag. If someone is telling you don't leave the house without me or don't go out alone, no, that's not normal here. A lot of Egyptian women are very independent, unlike what the media is showing you in America.
Mhm.
Arab women are very independent. Many work. They go out alone. They do everything alone, and it's fine. Some even live alone. I have multiple Egyptian friends and Egyptian relative females that live by themselves and own their own property. It's completely normal.
Yeah.
So anyone telling you something else is a liar.
Yeah, that's true. No, but it happened a long time ago. It was, I think, not even 80s, maybe 70s. Yeah, it happened in 70s. Yeah. So maybe at that time it was more strict and it was not very common that women worked and that they mostly stayed at home, I think. Now it's different.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the more traditional route. I love to stay at home and I love, to cook, to clean, and take care of my daughter. Oh, we have a 3-year-old. Her name is Noor.
Yeah.
She's in school right
Yeah.
now.
Beautiful name.
Otherwise, I would. So, yeah, I love being like a mom and a wife. These are things that I dreamed about because I was raised by a housewife. And, I always wanted to be like her one day and have this kind of, luxury of staying at home and doing what I want and finding my inner peace and providing for my family, like food on the table and, clean home. I love doing all that. I take pride in my home.
Yeah.
So this is something I really
Yeah, it
enjoy.
depends on the person. You know, a lot of women they don't want to be housewife. They come to Eastern
And that's
culture and
fine.
they just try to start working instantly, but it doesn't always happen so fast. It's not. I think it's not so
Yeah.
easy to find job.
In Islam and also in the Arab world, like it's really common, for uh, women to have jobs and be independent. And according to Islam, you have the right to work. Women have the right
Yes.
to have a job if they want. And even the Prophet Muhammad, his first wife,
Hmm.
she had her own business when they met. Okay, so this is completely normal.
Yeah.
And in the West, they like show Muslim women as like some subservient
Yeah,
little
yeah,
girl
yeah,
in the
that's
corner.
true, exactly. That they're sitting at home listening, always scared, listening to their husbands. Yeah, they can't go out anywhere. They don't work. They don't do anything. They just cook, just clean, and nothing else. It's kind of crazy what they try to
Yeah,
show.
and it's so Islamophobic and like blatantly racist, okay, and just quite frankly ignorant. Because it's not like this at all, at all. It's a woman's choice if she wants to work or she wants to stay at home. And if you want, one of those things, make sure you just, marry someone who is accepting
Yeah.
and on the same level you are and what it is you want. I've met men here, when I was dating that preferred that I got a job. And my answer to that was, if I have to get a job, I am out. Okay, so I decided I want to be a housewife. So I needed to marry someone that is down with that.
Yes.
Thankfully, my husband is. There are men here that want to have an independent working wife.
Hmm.
That's their
But
choice, and it's up
if you
to them
decide
to
to
accept
work,
that.
your husband would be fine with that.
Oh yeah, sure. He's not crazy. He's not controlling at all. My husband's not like someone who controls what I wear. He's not someone who controls like where I go and when and for how long. He
Yeah.
doesn't tell me anything. He's not my father,
Of
Even my
course, of
dad
course.
wasn't like
I can't
that.
imagine how is it possible to live with someone like that. It's crazy because some guys, okay, show me your phone. I need to check who's calling you. Give
Yeah,
me your password. I need to know. I
you
need to
don't.
read all your messages. I think it's really it's insane
Yeah,
to live with
I've been
someone.
in relationships like that where the guy's like checking your phone nonstop, and it's really, really nerve wracking, and it's not normal. It's not healthy.
Yeah,
We don't have that. We don't do that, and we have complete trust. We're very comfortable in our marriage, in our relationship, that we don't need to stoop to that level. And that's something I think you do when you're really young, because like when I was in my 20s and dating guys like that, they were doing that. It was like usually young men that were doing, and it's hard out there. Like, okay, this is my third marriage, okay, and it's like I've been there and done that. So for me to be with someone my own age in that time, I tried it. It was so hard. It was like I'm with a child. I'm babysitting. And
that's true.
Arab men aren't like the same, depending on the man and how traveled he is and whatever, and education level. Overall, Arab men don't mature as fast as men in the West because it's a closed society. They don't have as much experience with things as they do in America.
Yeah,
Like, so you have to keep that in mind. So when I was dating someone in my age, when I was here in my 20s, it was like kind of like I'm dating a 16-year-old.
yeah,
That's how it felt.
yeah.
If you're a developed woman with a developed mind who knows what she wants and you found yourself as a woman, I don't advise if you're in your 20s to be with someone else your age unless he's truly exceptional. Because otherwise they come with a lot of problems here with the checking of the phone, keeping you a prisoner, and it's just no. Don't you want a guy who's already found himself, who already knows what he wants and knows where he is in life and has his future like planned out?
Yeah.
When I asked my husband, where do you see yourself in 20 years? Like he had the answer point blank right away. I don't want to be with someone that's like, oh, well, maybe I'll do this. Or maybe, no, maybe. What do you want? Like, tell me.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because in the Eastern society, guys are really they're like kids. If someone is 20 something, they and the worst thing that they are not used to do anything. Their mothers they don't allow them to cook. They don't allow them to clean. Okay, we will do everything for
Girl,
you, dear. Just stay here and don't do anything. And they are so spoiled, so egoistic, I would say, and it's very difficult to be with someone like
I've
that.
met so many mamas this year. Yeah, like if you're, if you were the guy who's like mom does everything for him, making his tea, doing his laundry, I mean, that's great, but he should learn some independence. And that was something that I required of my husband. Like, okay, first of all, I don't make him do these things unless I'm sick and I don't have to ask. He automatically does it at home, cooking, cleaning, laundry, childcare. He does that when I'm ill. When I'm not ill, I do those things. However, when I met him, I'm like, okay, you need to have some independence. And he did. He was living alone when I met him in his own, house and everything. He had already, traveled and done a lot of things independently. He wasn't a little kid who was still living with his parents.
Yeah.
Now, in this culture, it is normal for men and women to live with their parents until, they get married or whatever. That is pretty normal here. But there are many men, that do have independence and do live by themselves. They do exist. And those are the ones that I personally was seeking out after, because they related to me more. And I can't be with someone who doesn't have, like, you're living with your mom and, you don't have, like, an apartment. You don't have all the things that are my rights as a Muslim woman. Like, you're not going to provide for me and give me my rights as a Muslim woman. That's a problem for me. So if you are Muslim, and even if you're not Muslim, you should be with someone that's going to give you, like, what you want and what you deserve and what you're seeking. Don't settle for less than what you deserve in any relationship, period.
Yeah. And what about the language? So you live here already 7.5 years in Egypt, so you can speak Arabic fluently. And do you speak Arabic with your husband, or do you speak? I don't know. You said that he knows French also. I think in Egypt they speak mostly Arabic and French.
Yeah.
Yes.
They speak Egyptian Arabic. They have their own specific dialect here. I am not fluent by any means. However, I do know more than enough Arabic to survive, because I was living here for over 3 years alone. I did have to learn Arabic, and I can function and do everything alone outside on a day-to-day basis and getting everything I want done. I can have some small talk, but when it comes to, like, a really in-depth conversation, I have a hard time. But I did have a conversation with a taxi driver on the way home this morning after I dropped my daughter off school. I wanted to get home and get ready to have our little meeting. And, we had the conversation, where are you from? How long have you been here? And was your daughter in school? We talked a little bit about my daughter in school and about my life here, but just small things, nothing like huge. So, but I can definitely get things done and function just fine here on my own. I'm on a maybe like intermediate level of Arabic, not beginner, but not fluent. I'm in the middle. But I can read Arabic, even though I don't know what I'm reading. It's like a puzzle of sounds. I can read it, but I don't know, maybe I don't know the word of the meaning I'm reading. The only thing I can do fluently is praying. I can pray in Arabic 100% fluently, no problem.
Yeah, that's really great. And do you find this language difficult? Was it easy for you to learn it? Did you start in America, or you started when you moved to Egypt?
No, I started learning Arabic when I was living in the States, because I learned how to pray in Arabic. And working at the Middle Eastern restaurant, they were speaking some Arabic there between themselves, so I would learn some words from them. I'd ask them to teach me some stuff. But I didn't really get more in depth until I came here. And when I first moved here, I was living in what is considered to be a local area. I didn't know that at the time, but I loved it. It was awesome. I had a little flat right along the Nile on the other side, across from where I am now. And I was pretty much forced to learn Arabic. No one around me spoke a word of English except for maybe I love you.
Yes, that everyone knows. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So definitely was forced to learn. That helped. I was carrying around a dictionary in my purse of Egyptian Arabic to English, little handbook dictionary. It's like this big, and I did my shopping with that. And eventually I learned. Then I got an Arabic tutor and learned how to read the numbers. So because I was shopping and in that area they don't put the English numbers, they write the numbers in Arabic. I had no idea what I was looking at. So I had to learn that. And then I had a new tutor when I met my husband and we got married. He got me another Arabic tutor, and that's when I learned how to read Arabic and to do more, speech. But I did have to quit my classes because I was further into my pregnancy in that time, and it was really hard. I was very tired. And I hope to resume soon now that my daughter is in her first year of school. So hopefully I can get back to learning because I would like to be fluent because
Yeah,
it would be helpful. You know, I want to live here forever. I'm not moving, so I should learn the language.
yeah, of course, I agree. Yeah, and I think it's not a very easy language because I started learning it some time ago just out of the curiosity because I really like Eastern culture, I really like Eastern languages. So for me, it was very interesting. And we had a teacher, I think he was Iraqi. Yeah, and he was such a patriot of Arabic language. It is the best. And but I guess you have really different dialect everywhere. So if you learn the
Yeah.
yes, in Egypt it's totally different.
Yeah, in Egypt they have their own dialect, and what's really unique about the Egyptian Arabic, it's something really simple versus the other Arabic. The rest of the Arab world, there's a letter called Jim in the Arabic alphabet,
Hmm.
and here in Egypt they pronounce it Gim. So instead of saying, like, for example, hijab, they say hijab.
Oh,
So they have like their own speech. I like it. It doesn't bother me. Just with some words, like I still refuse to say hijab. I still say hijab. I can't. Like I've always called it hijab. I can't just change it, you know. But I do try to say what is, you know, supposed to be the dialect here.
mhm.
But sometimes I catch myself, you know, saying the jim was something because the first dialect of Arabic that I actually started learning was when I was
Yes,
having some Saudi friends, and I learned a lot of Arabic from my Saudi friends.
yeah.
And they have a completely different dialect. So I was saying some stuff to them that was Egyptian, they would laugh at me. And then when I say stuff here in Egypt that's Saudi, they laugh at me. So you gotta like try to keep with the dialect of where you are,
We can
because
imagine.
they think it's funny. Yeah, they think it's hilarious, you know.
So if someone come to Egypt, for example, is it possible to survive there with English, or you have to speak some Arabic?
Yeah. Oh no, totally. Just live in either Zamalek or Mahdi. These are the two areas where most expats and foreigners
Hmm.
reside. Most of them live in Zamalek. I would say Zamalek is the number one place where most foreigners live because the majority of all of the embassies
Yeah.
are here, and all of the housing for ambassadors and diplomats are
Hmm.
here. And there's some in Mahdi as well, but most are here. Um, so you'll find most people speaking English, unless you're going to like some small little store, like a vegetable seller or something like that. I'm gonna understand you. But like any restaurant you go into, they should understand you or enough, you know, to do what you want, your request. It's pretty easy. I rarely actually have to use Arabic living here where I do, which is another reason why I'm further behind in speaking Arabic than I
Yeah.
should be for all the years I've lived here. It's not really necessary. And they feel proud when you're talking to someone here, they know English, they're like proud to share that with you and to like, they want to practice, you know, their English with you. So
Yeah.
they prefer to talk to you in English than in their native tongue.
Yeah, and I think it should be much easier in touristic zones, for example, where there are a lot of tourists, so probably they're used to speaking English or I don't know, French. So more.
Yeah, French, I think besides English, French is the most widely used third language here.
Yeah.
My husband speaks Arabic, English, and French.
Mhm.
French was his second language. My husband, he was born in Switzerland,
Oh.
and then he grew up a lot in France. He went to school in France, in Marseille,
Mhm.
as a child. So he learned French as his second language, and some of his family members speak French as well. His sister is a French professor at one of the universities here,
Oh, yeah.
and they've lived in other countries as well. My husband's father was a diplomat for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs,
Oh.
so he got to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him. He died around the same time that my mother died of cancer.
I'm
We
sorry
both
about
lost
that.
one of our parents to cancer, so I totally sympathize with my husband on that when we met. But he did, you know, as a father, got to take his family around different
Hmm.
countries, um, not in America, but in Europe and in Africa and in Asia. They lived in all kinds of different countries. My husband's niece, one of them was born in Saudi Arabia because they were over there stationed for a
Hmm.
while. So they have a lot of worldliness,
Yes.
and they all speak English as well, except for my mother-in-law. She doesn't speak any English, but I know enough Arabic. We can talk, you know.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's really nice. Do you speak French as well, or?
No,
Yeah.
I just make fun of with my husband to give him to be funny, He'll be like, no, it's not funny. No, we just joke around. French is a beautiful language, and I want my daughter to learn that language as well, so she will have it just like her father.
Yeah, of
It
course.
would be, it would open up a lot of opportunities. I mean, knowing another language is like gold. I mean, why not learn?
Yeah, I agree with
And
you.
unfortunately,
Yeah, that's true.
in America, most of us only speak English. So I tried taking Spanish in high school, but I didn't really retain much of it.
Yeah, in Russia, it's the same story. Everyone speaks Russian. They don't learn. Okay, we learn some languages at school, but not at a very high level. So it's like, and there no
Yeah,
one can speak English,
like
and it's a big problem.
only two Russian words. I know "da" means yes, and
Yeah.
"skazka."
Сказка?
Skazka means fairy tale. Yeah.
Oh, how do you know that?
My friend here is from Russia. We like to crochet. She crochets and I crochet. We love it. When she's one of my close friends here. She's from Russia. She's married to Egyptian Christian, and
Oh,
she lives
that's
right
nice.
across the river from me. And so my husband and I are friends with her and her husband. We only met like a few times as couples, but they we all get along really well. But I
Yeah,
try to see her often.
yes.
Yeah, so she taught me because she has her own crochet page called Skaska Crochet Art or something like that. And I asked her one day, "What is Skaska?" She's like, "Oh, it's fairy tale." I'm like, "Oh, that's so beautiful."
Yeah, that's nice. No, there are a lot of Russian women live in Egypt. That's I met so many of them. I talked to a few
Yeah,
of them, yeah, and they're everywhere, mostly, of course, in the touristic area. Yeah. I think a lot of them in Cairo as well. So I haven't been there,
yeah,
but
we have
I
a
heard.
lot. I'm friends with several Russian or Ukrainian women that live here in my neighborhood, and it's really nice to be exposed to different nationalities. That's why I have no problem when I'm speaking to other foreigners. I can understand them because I've got friends from all over the world here. I've got friends from Sweden, Brazil, Mexico, Russia, Ukraine, France, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, everywhere. I mean, all over the
Yeah,
planet.
that's
You name a
really
country. Czech
intercultural.
Republic.
Yeah, that's great.
I have friends from everywhere.
Yeah, that was
So
my
I'm
dream when I
really
used to live in Russia, to live in an intercultural atmosphere where you can meet different people. Of course, in Moscow, there are a lot of students from different countries, but you don't really speak with them every day. But here in Europe, I think in America as well, you have so many nationalities.
Yeah, we have a lot where I'm from in New Orleans. We have a lot of nationalities there, and I was exposed to some foreigners there as well. And that's when I kind of knew, even before I found Islam, before I found Arab.
Mhm.
I was like always dating foreigners, like French or whatever. I always liked foreigner guys. When I was a little girl, like I loved David Bowie, okay, and I loved his accent. I'm like, oh my God, David Bowie's so hot. I was like 5 watching Labyrinth. Like, oh, David Bowie. Yeah, so I always liked foreigner guys ever since I was a kid, even. So I don't know. I kind of knew one day, oh, yeah, I'm totally gonna marry a foreigner, and I did, absolutely.
So you knew before that your husband would be a foreigner.
Oh yeah, yep, for sure.
Yeah, that's nice.
Better for everyone likes what's different. Everyone likes something different than themselves. It's something exciting.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
that's what
true.
works for me.
Yeah, and you feel more comfortable in Egypt. So that's the most important thing, that you feel like at home
Yeah.
there. Yeah. And may I ask, what do you like the most about Egypt, about Egyptian culture? And if there is something what you don't really like, what you can't accept or understand, let's start with good
Um,
things.
yeah, what do I really like? I love the food, most of it, especially after meeting my husband and he introduced me like really good quality like Egyptian food. I love kosheri. It's like my favorite, and it's the national dish here. Um, I do love the people. I think they're some of the most friendly and hospitable people you will ever meet.
Yeah.
And I love the freedom here. Like you have more freedom. Like I feel this is my perspective now. I personally feel that I have more freedom here in Egypt than I did in my own country.
Mm.
For example, I can be as Muslim as I want to, and it's not a big problem. No
Mhm.
one's going to be like, "Oh, you're a terrorist." No,
Yeah.
we don't have that here. And
Yeah.
I can wear what I want depending where I'm going out of respect. And I can freedom of speech also. Okay, I'm not political, so let's throw that
Mhm.
away because I
Yeah.
don't get involved in politics and don't care about it. It's not me. Besides that, I feel like I have more freedom of speech here and I can say things here. And Egyptian people are funny and they don't get all offended like the Americans now. The entitled millennials, no, I'm a millennial, but the entitled millennials, they get just offended by everything you say and do. Here, Egyptians are chill, they're laid back, they don't worry about all this stuff that American people are obsessing over. It's just more just relax with when you're
Yeah.
talking to an Egyptian, it's just like you just say what you want. It's fine. They're not going to freak out on you and say, "Oh, well, that's offensive."
Yeah. They really know how to enjoy the life. That's what I noticed about
Yeah,
Eastern
these little
culture.
guys make a joke. They joke about themselves even, okay? They make fun of themselves. They make fun of everyone and themselves. It's free range humor here. And I love that Egyptian people are funny. They're hilarious. They love to joke and they don't like to eat alone. They love to invite people and they just love to have a good time and live life and they don't worry about, what's going to happen tomorrow or they're just in the now. They're
Yeah.
now people.
Yeah.
Unless you need something done, then maybe wait a little bit. If you need to get something done. Everything is bukra, inshallah, tomorrow,
Yeah,
God willing.
tomorrow, yes, that's true. The same
Yeah.
like in India, yeah.
But it gets done eventually. So
Yeah, and is there something what you don't really like or don't accept?
I'm accustomed to, I mean, I accept it, but I'm accustomed to living in a house, whereas, most people here live in high-rise apartment buildings.
Yeah.
I do accept that I live in an apartment, and I knew that before I came here that most Egyptians, they have like these giant apartment buildings. Everyone has
Yeah.
what they call a flat. In America will say apartment. Here they say flat. So there is that, but it's fine. Like they do have. I'm not saying that there aren't houses here. They
Mm-hmm.
exist, but they are like twice the price of what you would pay in America. Egypt is cheap to live if you want to live like renting or buying a flat. It's very affordable.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to living on a Western standard like of a house, uh, for example, because we were looking at some to recently on a house hunting search, just to get like a 3 bedroom house here in U.S. dollars is like $300,000, 250 to 300,000 U.S. dollars, yo. My 4 bedroom house in Tucson, Arizona, in the suburbs, in a really nice neighborhood, was 125,000, and we had a backyard. And it was huge. So here you pay a lot if you want to live in a house. They call it a villa. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but how's life in Egypt? Is it expensive?
Like yeah, the houses are very expensive here. But like if you want to live in an apartment, no, it's not expensive. Not really. I mean, like our rent here, and we live on the Nile. There is no way in hell in any city in America where you're living in front of a body of water that you would pay what we pay. You would pay like 4 times what we pay. So there is, it is more affordable when it comes to like renting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel that the apartments rental here are pretty cheap. Now, depending, where you are, of course, because there are some apartments on my island here in Zamalek that are definitely a United States standard of price.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking, penthouse,
Yeah.
you're going to have the whole floor, or it's going to be like super modern. Maybe it'll have central air conditioning. Oh my God, I miss central air conditioning. We don't have that. We have, here, let me show you. Let me just move the phone. Okay. I don't know if you can see. Do you see that?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So this is the air conditionings that we have here in Egypt. They're like this,
Mm-hmm.
or you have the window units. And we don't really use these in America anymore. Like maybe like some older homes might have it. But I grew up with central air conditioning my whole life and central heat. You just go to the thermostat and you set the temperature you want and you just leave it. And here I have a remote. I still don't know how to work this thing, like not entirely. My husband, he sets it, and then I just turn it on and off when I feel hot.
Yeah, but how did
So
you
that's
adjust to the climate? Was it easy for you? I guess it's pretty hot in Egypt. You don't really have cold season or something. How's the temperature in winter?
the winters here are beautiful. They don't get very cold. It's a little bit cold, maybe in the middle of the night, early morning, something like that.
Mhm.
It gets pretty cold. You'll need a heavy jacket. But no, I didn't really have issues adapting here. As long as I have air conditioning, I'm fine. Because I'm from Louisiana. It's hot and humid where I'm from, more humid than here. We have humidity here because, we're around the Nile and all of that. So I'm used to that. I don't like summer anyway, no matter where I'm at. So screw summer. I'm a winter, fall, spring kind of person. I hate summer. I hate it. Absolutely despise the heat. I don't like it.
No, I love summer, but I don't like humidity. It's killing me a lot. I couldn't understand why I feel so bad in Netherlands when it's plus 25 degrees. It's not so much, but because of the humidity, I'm feeling exhausted. I can't do anything. It's like you go out and you feel like coming back, and here we don't have air conditioning. But I think we have to install one because it's not possible to survive.
Oh, girl, I lived without AC one time here for like a couple months, and I didn't stay in that apartment because I got it for winter, and then I was gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna move when it starts to get hot because there's no AC in this apartment. And for like the 2 months I was searching, the summer had started. It was just the beginning of summer. I was dying. Oh my God, it was horrible. I cannot. Like, I don't know how people live without air conditioning, especially with global warming, climate change.
Yeah.
Egypt's summers are what they used to be. Like when my husband was a kid, he was telling me the summers were not like they are now here.
Mhm.
And it's the same in the Gulf. It's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's just you gotta have air conditioning.
But I think it's changing
That's
everywhere. Even in Canada, you probably heard this year it was plus 50. It's abnormal.
really
Yeah.
in Canada. No
And
way.
I think just 1 or 2 weeks ago it was plus 29 degrees in Canada in October. I couldn't believe it. It's abnormal. People are swimming. My friends are swimming now. And Canada, where is Canada and where is Egypt?
I've been to Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada here in the wintertime, and it's hot there. So it depends where you're living, because if you want to live down by the Red Sea cities, it's hotter than anything, and you can go swimming, all year round pretty much. But here in Cairo and we don't. It gets pretty cold in the winter, but it's not snowing. But we do have snow in Egypt. It does snow in the northern parts of Egypt and in the mountain of, I think it's called Saint Catherine. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong. But it's like one of the mountains here. It snows on top, and I love it. I want to go.
Yeah, I didn't know that it's snow in Egypt. That's amazing. That should be nice to
Yeah,
come in
I
winter
don't know
then.
that
So it's not hot,
in the mountains.
but what is the temperature during winter? Like 25, 20 degrees or less?
I'm not real good with the Celsius. I use the
Ah,
Fahrenheit
yes.
because I'm American. I would say in American terms that it's probably uh, 50s, 60s in Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what that is in Celsius. Right now, it's probably about 80 something degrees outside right now. It's
Okay.
actually really beautiful.
Yeah. I think it's nice to visit during October, November. It's the best time.
Yeah, late October, November, December, January, February, and March is generally pretty good. The rest of the year,
But can you
no.
can you swim or not?
Oh yeah, I know how to swim.
Yes, that's nice. That's my dream. Actually, I am I am from very cold city, but I love sun. I love summer. I can't live without sun. Like this is the worst season for me actually here because it's always gray. It's so depressing. I can't stand this weather. I really want to move somewhere where it's sunny and nice, warm.
I do miss the snow, but we do plan on going to ski Egypt. In the malls here, there's two malls here. City Stars, well, there's more than two, but two malls here that have snow.
Yes.
Ski Egypt in Mall of Egypt, and I forgot the other name of the place, but it's in City Stars. And you can go skiing, and they have real snow, and it's so neat. Oh my God, I want to go. Now my daughter is finally old enough that we can take her, so we'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I would like to ask you again, because you mentioned a little bit, but what make Egyptian men special than from others? Which qualities would you just mention? What makes them different?
The men,
Yes, if we talk about men and Egyptians
I
in
would
general.
say Egyptians in general, what makes them different is they are survivors. They survive on levels that you've never seen before, okay? Like, they are much more different than parts of the other Arab world in comparison. Of course, they're different than any Western country, but versus the rest of the Arab world, what makes them special is the beautiful chaos that they got going on here. And because of that chaos, they have like built-in survival skills,
Yes.
you know, and they can do a lot of things that I can't do, any American or foreigner can't do, that they are accustomed to that we're not. I just feel like they have like some hardcore survival skills. And that's amazing. It's really impressive and it's badass.
Yes, and are they emotional, romantic? If we talk about some main qualities of the man.
Yeah, I do feel that they're definitely more romantic. Like my husband is definitely the most romantic person I've ever encountered in my whole life. And he'll plan things like a year in advance. Like, I mean, we finish my birthday. He takes me somewhere every year for my birthday. And when we're done, like a month later, he's like, all right, I already booked for your birthday next year. I'm like, "Oh." And it's a surprise, you know? When he takes me, it's always a surprise. And I remember the first birthday we had together of mine, he said, okay, we're going somewhere special. And then he takes me to the Nile, and I thought we are just going to eat at this really nice restaurant. We go through the restaurant, he leads me by the hand, and takes me onto a felucca, a private like boat, beautiful boat,
Hmm.
and with like curtains and lights. And we set off sail on the Nile to have a romantic candlelit dinner and a birthday cake that he got himself made for me. And it was just fascinating. And he made a playlist on his phone of like romantic songs to play just, you know, for me that he like, you know, I love Shireen. Like he knows that she's my favorite Egyptian singer, and he played Shireen's song. Oh my God. And it was so romantic. And he does stuff like this multiple times a year, not just for my birthday.
Hmm.
He does stuff for Valentine's Day. He does stuff like for Christmas for me, or it's just something just because, like for not any occasion, he'll just do it because.
Yeah, that.
So I love that. It's always a surprise. Like I'm surprised all the time, and I love that.
Yeah, that's important, I think. And I think Eastern people, they're very emotional. They're not afraid to show their emotions, even if they can cry in front of the women. I don't know if Arabic men are like that.
Well, actually, it's any man who cries here, he'll be kind of looked at as not a man. Egyptian men are emotional, sure, but they are men. They're very strong. They're very dominant. It's a very dominated male society.
Hmm.
And depending on the type of man you have, will, you know, and how he was raised, will determine the kind of emotions he's willing to share with you. And my husband, definitely, I've never seen him cry. He doesn't do this. He's a very dominant yet diplomatic male. He's not like, okay, you do this, you do that. No, he's very, very diplomatic, very eloquent in speech, you know, and he's very, I guess, classy, I guess would be the word, you know. He's just, you know, like that. He has like this etiquette and specific mannerisms.
Yeah, I see
There
your
are
friend
men
now.
here.
See, your friend is saying hello to us.
Oh,
Dora?
hi, Dora.
Yeah, hello,
Hi.
Dora. Really nice.
Yeah. They don't really I mean, I would say they're charming for sure. They do not hide the fact that they are chivalrous and charming.
Hmm.
But for sure they're not going to be crybabies at all. Unless he's a mama's boy, in which case run.
And I think Arabic men, they can talk very sweet, very beautifully to impress women. That's what I heard about. I think Eastern men in general are like that. They know
Yeah.
how to impress the woman.
Yeah, everyone except for the Algerians. The Algerians have a reputation, the men, for being very hard. So the Algerian women, they love Egyptian guys because the
Oh,
Egyptian
yes.
guys are very charming. But just be careful to, when you're talking to someone who's using very charming speech to seduce you, to make sure he's not scamming, piece of crap first, because they are so good with their speech,
Yeah,
uh, they can manipulate women for their own personal benefit. So it's good to determine what's true and what's not.
yeah, that's
And you can
true.
figure that out with red flags.
Yeah, there are so many stories like that. Yeah, that women
Yeah.
just fall for that. Yeah.
There's good stories, but I don't think you hear the good stories as often because, well, when someone's happy, are they really going to go out and talk about it? No, not really. I mean, I do because I wanted to show the world, not all Egyptian guys or Arab men are going to be, scamming, manipulative jerks. There are normal people
Yeah,
here. There's good and bad men everywhere.
yeah, of
Let's
course.
be honest. All over the world. In my experience, the worst ones I had were in the West. They were very, even abusive, okay? So here it was much better for me with the men. So, but you just got to be careful not to get, scammed, or you're with someone who's trying to use you for something or
Hmm.
abuse you mentally in some kind of way. Because there is a lot of narcissism here,
Yeah.
because of the mothers not raising their kids right and just handing their sons everything on a silver platter. And that's great that you love your son, but you need to teach him how to be a man, not a little crybaby.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very common problem in all Eastern countries, I think. Yeah, they don't know how to be a man, how to take responsibilities. That's the problem.
What bothers me is when they marry a woman and expect her to be like his mom. Oh, my mother, she make me tea every day at noon. You will make me zatina. No, dude, like that's your wife. Have some respect, like she's not your mother.
Yes.
You married her, like she's your other half. You just fulfilled half of your religion by marrying a Muslim woman. Give her her rights, give her respect. If you want to make her you some tea, fine. You be nice? Do you have to be demanding and controlling and just downright cruel? No, it's not necessary.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. And what about your daughter? And which tradition are you bringing her up? Which languages does she speak already? Which language do you
She
speak with her? Arabic or English or?
I speak with her in English, and Amr, he speaks to her in Arabic. And she's getting both of those languages now. And at school, she's also learning English and Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets with these languages, we will teach her French. So she'll get everything. I want her to have all the languages, just like my husband, because of his knowledge of his different languages,
Mm-hmm.
he was able to get a very good career.
Yeah.
So this is good for you if you have a lot of languages to have, all these opportunities in the future.
Mm-hmm. But do they teach
Which is
French
very
at school?
No, they don't teach the French at her school. I mean, they could, but then they wouldn't teach her English because they have an English or French curriculum. She's only in nursery though, okay?
Yeah,
She's
no,
not in
now she's
primary.
not going to real school. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but they have they teach her Arabic for half an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the day is English, like they're speaking to the kids in English because they only have two curriculums. There's English and French at the place that she's going to right now. So of course I put her in the English one because I don't want her coming home as a 3-year-old speaking French to me and I don't understand what she's saying. So learn the French later when you're a little older, because I only know about the parlez-vous français and like croissant and that's about it.
Yeah, I was learning French, but somehow it's very difficult. Yeah, but with me, I have to learn it. No one spoke English. I was really in trouble when I just arrived to Belgium. I just asked people for help. Do you speak English? They just looked at me and said no. And went away. I was really shocked. So I understood I need to learn French, but I didn't like attitude of the people. That's why I didn't want to learn it. So they really made me angry. It's like everyone knows some English, at least basic English, but they didn't want to speak it.
Yeah. No, English is pretty easy to learn from what other people tell me. I mean, I don't know because this is my language, so I don't know if it's easy to learn, but everyone says it is. So that's good, you know. I think it's the second, the most widely used language around in
Yes.
most countries. You know, they learn English. It's because it's easy, you know. In America, I don't know why we're just so all about English. You ever see those videos about those crazy people? Like, you come to America, you better speak English. You better speak English now. You go get on out of here. You ever hear those from those crazy hillbilly people? You know, telling people like speak English and make America great again. And all. No, like why don't you guys try to learn another language too? Not make it all about English. I think American government does this on purpose to keep us in this like little American bubble
Mm-hmm.
and not like allow us to travel out and see the world and expose ourselves. They keep us like so different. Like why do we have, you know, like the metric system? I don't understand it. Why do we have to have miles? Why do we have to have Fahrenheit? Why do we have to be so different, like in everything? Like, come
Yeah.
on. I didn't even understand any of this. Like, when I first moved to Egypt, I remember not knowing that they use kilos here. I didn't know that. I thought the world was pounds, literally.
Yeah.
So I go to the meat guy, and I'm like, can I get 2 pounds of beef? He's like, what the? 2 pounds of Ada? You know, like, what?
I can imagine, yeah. Everything is different, yeah. Your culture is great, so everything should be different.
Everything. I tell my husband, you know, because I walk to and from school with Nora, it's 4 miles a day. I do it on purpose, trying to get in shape. I'm like, yeah, I walked 4 miles today. He's like, what's that? I don't know. No idea. I understand enough, like when I'm shopping, okay, yeah, I know the kilos now. When I'm going to go buy meat, I know how to do everything with that. But some stuff you just can't change, like distances
Mhm.
are still, I'm sorry, they are.
But in America, you don't
And
learn other languages at school, or not so many languages, or it's not maybe on a
they're,
high level.
I don't know about now, but when I was in school, which was like 14 years ago,
Yeah.
not that long ago, um, it was not mandatory. I did take Spanish as an elective. It was not like something I could have chosen not to.
Hmm.
So in my time, where I was going to school, it was not something you had to do. I think it should be something that you have to do.
Yeah.
I think that they should teach other languages, you know, like has a part of the curriculum Spanish for sure.
Yeah.
Because in America, we have a lot of the Spanish
Yeah, that's
language
true,
because
especially in the
of the
southern
Spanish
part of
population.
America, Texas and other probably states as well. There are so many Spanish speakers.
At least that, you know. I mean, I do have some friends that they took French or German, but by the way, like in my high school, we only offered um, French, German, and Spanish,
Hmm.
and that was it. There was no Arabic, there was no Chinese, there was no Portuguese, and no.
Yeah.
You have those 3 choices, and maybe it's different now. I don't know because I am not in the States, but just in my time, this is how it was, and I do hope it's changed because more Americans do need to learn how to speak. Like I'm living here in Egypt, I should speak Arabic, and I'm still working on that. It's not easy,
Hmm.
especially you know after you turn 25. They say it's hard to learn another language after the age of 25. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very hard.
When
My
you're
mind
a
is
child,
not.
it's so easy to learn everything. I think here the same. They teach just most common languages. Like my son, he went to higher school and he got French and he got German. So he will learn German,
Okay.
French, Dutch. Okay, in Dutch they have all subjects. English. So 4 languages. I think maybe there will be more later on, but
Wow.
at least 4 languages. I really envy because in Russia it's like maximum one language. You learn English or German or French or maybe Spanish somewhere, that's all. And most of people, they don't speak it anyway. It's not on a very high level. So I don't know. In Egypt, how many languages do they learn at school normally? Arabic, probably.
Um,
English.
English and Arabic, depending on the school though, because you know, as you know, the schools here, the public schools here probably aren't going to teach anything but Arabic,
Mm-hmm.
and the public schools here aren't the best. They're very bad. Everyone, I have not met one Egyptian that says, "Oh, public school is great." No, they're all afraid of it. They're like trying to avoid it, you know.
Yeah.
You pay for a school here if you want a good education, and usually they do teach English at international schools. My husband's nieces, I think they learned English at the schools here. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I do know that they offer that here. So
Yeah.
definitely English. French, I think maybe like that's something you choose to do on your own.
Mm-hmm.
My family, my husband's family got that from living in France.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what about medical system in Egypt? How good are, qualified are doctors? Are you happy with it? Is it really different than in
Yeah.
US?
I mean, I'm an American, so you know how our healthcare is
Yes,
in
yes,
the
I know. Money, money. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive. Okay, I'll give you an example. The average cost of childbirth in America is about 10,000 US dollars to have a baby. To have a baby.
Yeah. Golden baby.
Here, I gave birth at a beautiful, fancy private hospital,
Mhm.
and I had a private doctor of my choice, and it was about $1,000.
Wow. Yeah.
For everything.
You can
That's for
compare.
everything. So yeah, as an American, I view that as great, and I was very happy with my health care,
Mhm.
how I was treated with everything, and I was very happy with the hospital. There wasn't any language problems.
Yeah.
Everyone spoke English to me. They were, doing all the same stuff that they would have done in America with, the procedures, and no, I
Yeah.
didn't have any issues. And it's still till now when I go to any doctor or dentist, that's fine. But like everything else here in Egypt, there are levels of class when it comes to this stuff. So not only is the Egyptian culture on a class system,
Mhm.
but like the society, but also the schools here on a class system, the careers here are on a class system, and places that you will go to, hospitals and things like that, are on a class system as well. So you might go to a hospital in Egypt and you might have a horrible experience, and you'll see it as dirty and filthy, and like they aren't wearing gloves, or just something crazy, like that. And you'll be like, oh my God, the hospitals in Egypt are horrible. But it's just because the one you went to. If you want what I just described about my experience, then you would go to a private place,
Yes.
maybe specific ones, because even the private hospitals have levels of
Mhm.
class as well.
Mhm.
So it's all about the area you choose, the doctor you choose, the hospital you choose. All of those things are going to affect your experience as a foreigner, and affect your perspective. So you gotta, what I always advise people to do is, when you want to go see a doctor here or you choose a hospital, ask in some of the foreigner Facebook groups, what other women or whoever has used before, and go off other people's experiences,
Mhm.
so you kind of expect, like, what you're going to get, and it won't be a big surprise later, and maybe you get like tetanus or something, hepatitis, who knows, because that has happened here before, where a foreigner, this was years ago, they got hepatitis from a shot here because the nurse reused a needle by accident. You
Mhm.
gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, but how is the system? Do you have house doctors as well? Can you just go to specialist without like a reference, for example? Because here it is like that. If I want to go to specialist, I can't go just by myself. I have to go to the house doctor, and then he will give me some paper, and then I can go.
Oh, yeah, primary physicians? No, I mean, you pretty much like just look up a doctor and you can make an appointment and go. You don't need to have any kind of specific uh, prescriptions and requirements and paperwork and stuff like that. It's not necessary. Like, I had a knee problem earlier this year, so I made an appointment with a chiropractor. I didn't need a referral for him.
Okay, yeah, so it's different. I think it's only in Netherlands like that, and I really suffer from that system because.
Like, if you go to the pharmacy here, majority of medicine is over the counter. Like, even antibiotics, like I can go buy amoxicillin, azithromycin, or like Flagyl, things like that are antibiotics in America. Like, you have pneumonia, you're gonna need amoxicillin. You need a prescription for that.
Yes.
you know?
Mhm.
Or if you have like an infection in your chest or whatever, you need antibiotics for that. Here, you just go and buy it. And even I can order it on my app called Yadawi on my phone, and I just type in the medicines I want, and someone. It's okay. I don't need to tell. Oh, I have a prescription for my doctor. No, they don't care about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. In Russia, it's the same. I'm so used to it. You just go and buy whatever you need. You don't need any prescription at all. So it's
And that's where I see it's like freedom here. It's like freedom. And I'm my own doctor sometimes. I'll be like Googling my symptoms. Oh, I think I have this. All right, where's the medicine for that? Oh, here. All right, let me get some medicine. Bring it. And I've treated myself a few times. So it's fine. But they give you that freedom here. Like, they don't try to police the medicine, you know. But they do police, like, okay, narcotics. That's something separate. When it comes to, like, hydrocodone or, you know, stuff like that. Like,
yes.
morphine. Of course, they're not going to just let you have it over the counter. You will need like a prescription for that. But that's pretty much it. Everything else, antibiotics and stuff like that, you have the freedom to buy that, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different system. I think it's more like in Russia. Yeah.
In America, they give you like you have to have insurance. I don't have health insurance. Why? Why I need health insurance? You know, we don't have car insurance here. Why the hell we need health insurance? You don't need these things here. You don't need insurance. Is like a foreign word here. It's not necessary. It's there,
Mm-hmm.
but who gets it? I don't know. I haven't met anyone. Maybe some foreigners I am friends with. They have some insurance.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not necessary. Not in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here you can survive without it, and it's pretty expensive as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah, unless I guess you're used to like free healthcare, like in the UK, I think they have free healthcare
Yes.
there
Yes.
because they complain about the cost here. I'm like, you should go to my country.
Yeah.
You should go to America and see how much it costs there.
Yeah.
Because over here, I'm having a great time. Like, this is wonderful.
In Canada, I think as well, it's free. That's what I heard.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
I'm
have
pretty sure.
huge lines to go to the doctor. It's like you have to wait for months and months, and everyone complain, yeah, okay, it's free, but you have to wait, and you can die in this month. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's nuts.
yeah. And what about, okay, you mentioned before that you really like Egyptian cuisine, but what is your favorite dish? What do you like the most, and what do you cook at home mainly? Do you cook only Egyptian food, or do you just have some, I don't know, continental,
Yeah,
fusion, American, whatever? Yeah.
my favorite food here is kosheri. That's my favorite dish. It's the Egyptian national dish, but I did some research on it. They actually got the dish from India. They just like maybe added some stuff, changed it a little bit, and you know, but it's basically from India.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Dora kosheri. Yeah, I love kosheri. At home, we cook everything. We're a very international household. We make every kind of cuisine. Tonight we're having veal. Yesterday we had lo mein, and I made that here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really eat out too much, except for maybe on the weekends, or if we're sick. But we cook at home every day and all kinds of different foods. My husband loves different foods.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like the only issue, like I said before, is portion size that we have issues with. Like he loves all the foods from America I make, but I'm used to cooking bigger portions, so I make too much for him. You know, he's like, "What is this big macaroni?" You know, big macaroni and cheese. Like, it's too much. You know, so I have learned to make smaller amounts of food.
Yeah, I saw that. I have never been to America, but I went to Canada and I was surprised. Everything is huge. The houses are huge. The cars are huge. The portions are huge. Everything is big there. So it's so different than Europe. I was kind of, oh, wow, totally different world.
Yeah, it is. Everything here is small, okay, and it drives me crazy sometimes. Yeah, that might be one of the things about Egypt I don't like is everything is so damn tiny, okay? I mean, the glasses, like I'll go to someone's house and they'll have like this tiny little glass they give me and fill it with water. And I'm like, it's like for a child, you know? Like,
What is that?
yeah. But even like my husband's family, like they have small glasses. Okay, for me, this is a small glass. This is like your average size drinking glass, you know. But this, like maybe it's like this big in comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? For me, I started bringing this every Friday. We go to the in-laws. I bring my own bottle this size
Mhm.
because I'm tired of getting up to refill my glass every minute. You know, like I can't.
Yeah.
It's too exhausting. Just bring my own bottle, and it's like that here. And we do have Chili's here, and we have TGI Fridays. And one time we took my sister-in-law there and my mother-in-law there, and we ordered the nachos and the chips and salsa, and they're bottomless, which obviously my husband didn't understand what bottomless meant because we finished the basket of the nachos and they bring back more. And he's like, I didn't order more. They're like, it's bottomless. It means we keep bringing it until you can't eat anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't know that. And then like my mother-in-law, she sees the glasses on the table. They're like this big, the drinking glass size of American size. The first thing she says, the cup is so big. Like this is our average size. This is normal
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, then
We had to
understood.
go to IKEA so I could get some normal drinking glasses because my husband he likes the small ones. I like the big glasses, so we bought some from IKEA for me.
So have you special ones?
Yeah, this is a Ameera's glass. It's this big.
So you have a different type of cuisines at home, yeah. And your husband doesn't mind to try something new because I know some Eastern men that are really patriotic about their food and they want to eat, especially if I talk about Indian men, they really love their food. Even if they live abroad, they will look for Indian restaurant to go there to order something Indian, yeah. So they're really,
I love it. We make curry chicken here at home. We love that. We make all kinds of dishes. My husband and I love to cook. Now that we're Facebook friends, you'll get used to me posting pictures of our dishes all the time as we love to cook. And I mostly do the cooking, but my husband he cooks too. Like he does it on his own, but he's got to be in the mood. You know, when he's feeling like creative, he'll go in the kitchen and like make something amazing, and he'll be like, "I'm making dinner tonight." Okay, I'm like, "Okay, cool," you know, whatever. I'm not used to this because none of the men in my family cook anything. Always the women they do it, and I was kind of raised like that. My mom would tell me, you know, hey, you know, you have to learn how to cook and clean because one day you're going to get married and your husband's going to expect this. I was raised in a very traditional household, okay?
yeah.
And I learned how to do all that. And she would scold my father when he would come to the kitchen. She'd say, "Go, get out of here. I'm cooking. Please leave," you know? So I'm not used to the man like doing anything in the kitchen, and I was actually really against this when Amr and I got married, and he was like wanting to do things in the kitchen. I'm like, can you just not like, can you go away? But then when I tried his food, I was like, okay, you can cook anytime you want.
Please, it's so
Really good
tasty.
at cooking.
I think the best
He makes
cook are
some
men
cooking
actually.
too.
They really can cook so good and that's
Yeah,
really amazing. My husband he
it's
loves
amazing.
cooking. It's like he can
He makes
try,
the best.
yeah.
He makes the best shrimp pasta I've ever had. Like he makes like this Cajun seafood pasta. And I'm from New Orleans, okay? We eat Cajun food. That's our thing. Is our jambalaya and gumbo. But he made a Cajun seafood pasta that I have never had anything better in my own state. He's just that good. He follows all these chefs on TikTok, and he's always saving recipes and sending me stuff. And he's very much into food, even though he is a kind of like a health nut and a portion police person. You know, he loves to cook. He loves recipes, and for him, he always says to me, you know, it's about the experience of the food, not the size.
Yeah.
So he likes to have the taste and the experience rather than like overload his stomach, you know, with lots of food like we do in America with our buffet, all you can eat culture.
Yeah, as much as you want.
I love all you can eat. I see the sign, I'm like, yes, let's go. He's like, I hate this concept, you know.
Yeah, it's totally different indeed. Yeah, in America, everything is big. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's difficult to get used to something else. Yeah, even with the glasses, you have bigger glasses. You can't adjust. Even after 7.5 years, yeah, you need more. Yeah, but of course, if it's something tasty, you want to eat more. Yeah, I can imagine. And I think in America, it's very popular to eat, especially in the southern states, Mexican food. Think you can find wonderful Mexican restaurants there.
Yeah, I did live in Arizona briefly. That's out west. You'll find like, okay, in Texas, New Mexico, California, like Southern California and Arizona and Utah,
Mm-hmm.
you will find the most, authentic Mexican food. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Mexico about 12 times, maybe more.
Oh, wow.
And I've tried the food, and it's very good. And I can say that in the other states I just mentioned, it's very authentic. And it's also common that you'll find a large Hispanic
Yeah.
population
Mm-hmm.
in these states because it's so near to Mexico. Now, where I'm from in the south, we're away from Mexico. Where Louisiana is it borders the Gulf of Mexico, the ocean.
Yeah.
So there's no Mexico down there. But if you go to Texas and onwards to the left, you'll find more Hispanic population, and Mexico's down there. And it's a lot of fun, though. I mean, I loved the food out west. I did not like living out west. If I were to say, I had a harder time adapting to Arizona than I did to Egypt. I hate Arizona. Oh my God, that is the most worst state in the whole entire world, in
Right.
all the countries. Oh my God, I hate it there. I hate it there so much. I would rather live in a village in Egypt than move back to Arizona. Arizona is where everything goes to die. Happiness and everything.
Yeah.
Worst states. Oh my God, so boring.
Yeah, I haven't been there, so I can't say anything. So I really want to
You're not
see
missing
America.
nothing.
Yeah, because I love
You're not
nature,
missing
and
nothing.
you have amazing nature. You have amazing parks. It's like nature resorts. It's so beautiful there.
Oh yeah, Louisiana is very green. We have a lot of swamps, and we got like alligators and pelicans, and
Yeah.
we have a lot of beautiful rivers and lakes and streams. In Arizona, you don't have nothing. You have nothing. There's no rivers.
Then I
There's
don't
nothing.
go to Arizona.
There's like a dried up river. There's like the Santa Cruz River. It's like all dried up. It's like this little. But the food is great. That's it. That's the only good thing I could say about Arizona is the food was amazing. The Mexican food. But everything else sucked, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, but America is so huge. I think it's so different.
Yeah.
You can't say anything. Okay, I saw only one American city and I didn't like it. And I know that it has very bad reputation. I saw only Detroit. That's all.
Oh, Detroit.
Yeah.
I haven't been that far up north yet. I did live in Chicago when I was a little girl. I was very small. I lived there just for a few years, though, before we moved to New Orleans,
Hmm.
before we moved to Louisiana. And I did remember I liked it, but I was small. It's like first grade. I missed the snow. I loved our white Christmases that we had.
Yeah.
It was nice. The pizza was good. I know we had really good Chicago pizza.
Yeah.
Um, Most of my life, though, has been spent in the southern states. I
Hmm.
was born in Florida, actually,
Ah, okay.
and I've lived in Georgia, South Carolina, and Louisiana. So those are all southern states. The only two non-southern states I lived in were Illinois and Arizona. But most of all the years combined,
Hmm.
most of my time was spent than any other state was in Louisiana. So I always say I'm from there. 'Cause A, I spent more years there than anywhere else. And B, it's my favorite state.
Hmm.
So it makes sense just to choose that one.
Yeah, but somehow I didn't feel safe there. I saw so many beggars there. Everyone was shouting on the streets. They were asking for money. And come on, what is it? I just wanted to, and luckily it was just, I don't know how it took us, maybe 10 minutes. It was from the border with Canada, and then we were already in Canada, and it was
Yeah.
totally different experience. Like everything is so
Yeah.
quiet, calm, people are calm, and it's like, wow, it's so near, but it's so
I know
different.
there's like some crime there in
Yeah,
Detroit. That's all I
there
know.
is
I've
crime. Yeah,
I've never been there. I can't really speak on anything but what I've heard, and I don't really trust the media, so I don't know what's real and what isn't.
yeah. That's what I felt. Really, that it's not so safe there. That's what I heard from other people, even from my husband's relatives who live just across the border. So they say it's not safe there. So they don't even go there so often. Although it's only maybe 10, 15 minutes, not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would like to ask you my favorite question, which I hope that these interviews will help other girls to understand other cultures. So, what would you recommend girls who are in relationships with Egyptian men? how to avoid mistakes, misunderstanding. What is your suggestion for them?
Um, well, maybe just try to avoid some of the common red flags that exist. I would say the biggest red flag that foreign females fall victim to is financial scams.
Yeah.
So if you're with an Arab guy, and it doesn't matter if he's Egyptian or any Arab guy, okay, and even Pakistani and any Muslim, like Muslim nationality, like Afghan, whatever he might
Yeah.
be, they don't allow their women to pay for anything, okay?
Yeah.
This is not normal. So if you're with a guy and he's saying, oh, pay for this, pay for that, rent this, rent that, buy this, and oh, you need to spend that and buy me a ticket here, and no, you shouldn't be doing any of that. I've never spent a single dime of my own money since I met my husband, not even married, met him. Even from the first night that we met, he didn't even allow me to pay for my coffee. He paid for it. And I just met him, okay? This is normal. When a guy is serious about you, he's not going to let you pay for anything because, two, one reason is because it's a cultural affront to his manhood, and it's not normal, okay?
Yeah.
And secondly, this is just the common thing that how this society operates, Men are providers here. This is a traditional culture. Men provide, and women are, they're protected, and they are, homemakers, and maybe they're not, maybe their career, but it doesn't matter. Either way, even if you work, your money is your money, and this is religion in Islam. If the woman works, her money is her money. Any money she gives to the man and to the family is considered by God an act of selfless charity, and she'll be rewarded in the afterlife for doing that, and it's her choice. A husband cannot go to her and say, hey, honey, can I have $20 so I could go do this? No, he cannot do that. And he's responsible for paying for everything for you, not just you, but any kids that you have. This is religion and culture. So he's responsible for paying for your food, for the wedding, okay, and your dress, pay for that. And he's responsible for paying for your kids' school and for your clothing for both you and the children. And he has to provide a fully furnished house, like flat, whatever, before he can even get married. So this is why I always say to anyone who are saying Muslim women are oppressed, no, I'm sorry. It's the other way around, y'all. It's the other way around. It's the men who have so much to do. They are the ones with all this responsibility that they have to do for the woman just to get married, okay? In this society, it's not very common for a man who doesn't have a job and doesn't have a home, to get married. That's not considered normal. And no Egyptian family or Egyptian woman would accept that or for their daughter to marry into this situation because he would be deemed as an undesirable prospect in this culture.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of foreign women finding men online that he doesn't have a job and maybe he's living with his parents. Okay, I understand he's still in university or whatever, and that's fine, but I don't think that in this culture, it's really not appropriate to get married until he's got his own home.
Yeah.
And he's got everything ready to receive a wife. Because when he marries a woman, he's receiving her and welcoming her into his home. And he's got to have it set up for her. Because having a wife here is a luxury, okay? It is not it's not like your right to own her. You're not owning her. You are protecting her and you are giving her a nice life. That's what you are doing. And a lot of women fall victim to these scams, and they're like, oh, I'm sending Muhammad money this week because his mom is going through some treatments. And most of these things are lies. They always try to find an illness in the family, so they need money for that. They need money to fix the car. He shouldn't be asking you for anything, okay? Now, it's up to you. If you are aware these scams exist and you still want to give money, God bless you, and that is up to you. Sure, there are exceptions, and sure, not everyone asking for money is a scammer. There might really legitimately be someone out there that, he does love you, but he does need help. So, and that's up to you if you want to go that route. For me, as someone who like doesn't want to work and doesn't want to have like career, for me it was important to marry someone that was financially stable and could provide for me my life, like all my Muslim women rights,
Yes.
and give me all of those things. And it's important that if you are Muslim, to be educated, especially if you're a convert like me, to be educated on your Islamic rights as a female and what you're entitled to when you get married, because it's not right for a man, any man, to not give you what is your right by God. That's not correct. So, and another scam would be orphy marriage. I don't know if you're familiar with what orphy marriage is. Anyone watching, I'll explain it. Orphy marriage here is a legal marriage to an extent. And what that means is it basically just gives the right for two members of the opposite sex to co-inhabit a place together. Orphy marriage is normally viewed as a temporary marriage. And in my opinion, it should be outlawed in Egypt. And I don't know why it's not, because it's culturally frowned upon. This type of marriage is not really fully legitimate. You cannot get a hotel room with your husband if you only have a orphy marriage. You can rent a flat together. That's about it. And most men try to pressure a foreign woman into an orphy marriage because he wants probably just to, intercourse with her and just wants to have fun with her, or maybe like make her think it's a real marriage to get money or whatever it is he wants. But normally, it's not something that is serious, and no respectable Egyptian man, I don't care who he is, there are no exceptions for this at all. No respectable Egyptian man would ever, ever, ever do an orphy marriage with you. That means he's not serious, point blank. There are no exceptions. Even if he is serious, he wouldn't want to do an orphy marriage because of how it's perceived. It is culturally frowned upon in the highest form. It is the most disrespectful level of marriage you could possibly do to somebody. You have no rights as a Muslim woman. He's not obliged to give you any rights. If you have any kids with him, you're going to face so many legal problems, so many inheritance problems, because that is not a real marriage. It's just orphy marriage. It's mostly used as temporary marriage and, for sex and things like that. It's not something serious. And I really, really strongly discourage any woman that is in a relationship where the man is talking about orphy marriage to run away because he's a liar. It's not good. And you will not get your rights. And you don't want to be looked at in this way because it's a lot of easy women, they fall victim to this type of arrangement. It's completely against everything. Any serious man marrying a foreigner, the only legitimate way is at the Ministry of Justice. This is the only fully legal marriage. And first thing you'll do is go to your embassy and you'll go through the channels there before going to the Ministry of Justice and getting the final marriage decree with your fingerprints and everything like that. This is the only fully legal marriage here.
Yes.
So that's what people should be aware of, is to avoid the orphy. Maybe some other red flags to look out for has he been married to multiple foreigners before you? Ask yourself, why is that? Probably for some of the reasons I just talked about, okay? Cultural adaptation, like being able to adapt here. I think it's important to educate yourself on the class system of Egypt, because this will strongly determine what kind of partner you will get. So a book I can recommend on understanding the class system in Egypt, it's written by Galal Amin. He's a very famous Egyptian author. He died, I think, last year or the year before, unfortunately. But he wrote a book called Whatever Happened to the Egyptians. And this is a fascinating book going into the socioeconomics of Egypt and its people and its culture and society as a whole. And he basically goes in to talk about how Egypt has come the way it has, with all of these levels of class, and why they are there and why it's so divided. It's a very good book to read to understand that, because this is a very divided society, even though Egyptians respect each other. Okay, someone from the lower class and the upper class, they will respect each other during an encounter, but you won't see, like, for example, someone from the lower class and upper class getting married. That's really uncommon here. And generally people from the lower class spectrums will live in conditions that or have habits, or even in the interpretation of Islam that will be really unadaptable for a foreign woman, most foreign
Yeah.
women coming into this kind of relationship. They will have certain ideologies that you may not agree with. Like the Purdah, for example, that I spoke about before, the women only staying in the house and never going. There are men and families that believe this and practice this. Also FGM. What else? Yeah, like even little things like doing your laundry might be very different than how they do their laundry versus how you do your laundry. Just little things, little habits, behavioral norms. It's just like a huge different world. Like the way my husband and his family is going to be vastly, vastly different than a family from like across the river from me. They're gonna be completely different, and they won't even see my husband as like Egyptian. They will see him as foreigner
Yeah.
because of how our lifestyle is considered foreign for them, and how they live
Mhm.
is the norm for them, and anything different than them is not Egyptian for them. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, I understand. Yeah.
A lot of these men, they will have different expectations. Like in the lower class spectrum, they're going to have different expectations for their wife,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and being less willing to compromise on certain things than men from different other caste systems. And some of these things are something small. I had a friend go through this. Her husband didn't want her to buy a stroller for the baby because for him this is something useless, waste of money, or whatever the reason might be. It's not normal for him.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, the stroller is pretty necessary when you have a kid, okay? And you push your kid in the stroller. I've seen over there and across the river from me, the way they carry their children, for example, on their shoulder,
Yeah.
things like that. That's really different than over here. And where I live, you'll see lots of women pushing strollers.
Mm-hmm.
As over across the river from me, there might be some, but it won't be as common because Egyptian people as a whole don't make a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
strollers are expensive. It's a Western commodity. And if you're from a low-income family, which makes up of most of the Egyptian people,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for them to for that. Most Egyptians struggle to put food on the table every day.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is another reason why I get so livid at anyone shaming the Egyptians for like not having the COVID-19 precautions and practicing social distancing and stuff like that. They've never been here. People saying this stuff, they've never been here, or if they have, they must have been in a really
Yeah.
outskirt area, because this city, specifically Cairo, is heavily, heavily
Yeah.
overpopulated. It is almost impossible to practice social distancing, and especially for the lower class Egyptians that rely on public transportation like the metro and the bus to get to work, and the microbuses every day. You're crammed in with all these people. There is not enough hours in the day to safely bring everyone where they need to go while practicing social distancing. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, it won't work here. We're going to build an entirely new city, okay, for
Yeah.
that if you want. Spread it out. And they're working on that. They're building the new capital, but from what I've read, though, it's not really accessible for most Egyptian people, so that kind of sucks. But
Yeah, and what do you
it is
think?
what it
Is
is.
it important if to meet the family of the guy before marriage?
Yeah, the family of the guy, I think it's important to, when you meet them, to see like how they behave with you. For me, it was important they speak English.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I'm in Egypt, and yes, I should learn Arabic, and I agree with that. However, I do think that when you're with a family that can speak other languages, you're with a more worldly and educated group of people that are going to be more exposed to other cultures and be more accepting of you. Hey, Amr.
Your husband is back.
No, my husband's family was very accepting, like I said. They're very worldly. And I just think that you should keep an eye out, like, if they are trying to treat you badly, they should not, because you are their daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
and you're like family for them, and you should be treated as one of them from the beginning. They shouldn't be trying to, like, abuse you. And unfortunately, I have a lot of friends whose in-laws abuse them,
Yeah.
spit on them, and horrible things with them. And these aren't normal things. That means you're with a family that's not very good. They're maybe on a different layer of class and
Yeah.
everything like that. Um, I think it's important to, like I said, all of these things can be avoided, all of these scams. You can really, really, really help yourself, protect yourself from being a victim of marriage fraud and financial scams and mental manipulation if you just simply like educate yourself on the class system here
Yeah.
and all of the socioeconomics surrounding that. And that'll really protect you so much. When you know the cultural norms, you can handle any situation and know what's normal and what isn't, if you're being treated fairly, if you're not. All of these things will help you get through Egypt in any kind of situation.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's very important to talk before marriage. What do you expect? What do you want from your husband? Then not to get in a situation that you are shocked. Oh, you didn't tell me that I have to wear hijab. You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me this. And it's kind of obvious things. You are in totally different culture. And as you said, that many people simply don't know what they're getting in, and their expectations are totally different.
And wearing hijab, like I said before, is definitely a choice. But I am a strong believer, though, in respecting the area of which you are living in. And I myself have lived in areas where pretty much all the women are covered, and so I covered as well, out of respect for where I was
Yeah.
living. And I think it's important to do that. But if you're living in, an area where, like Zamalek, where it's not really normal to cover, most women here go uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be forced. You shouldn't be forced anyway. It should be your decision.
Yeah.
And the second, and any advice I can give to any woman, the second you back down and do what he asks you to do is the second you're going to have problems. Because it starts with the hijab,
Mm-hmm.
then it moves on to something else. You need to be firm. And he might try to say some stuff to try to manipulate you to doing what he wants. Please don't.
Mm-hmm.
Please be a strong woman and stand your ground, because he has to respect you for that. And he's not respecting you by forcing you to adhere to his ideologies. Now, unless, like I said, like you're in a local area, yeah, please do cover to respect
Yeah.
the traditions of this neighborhood, because that's the right thing to do. And if you were a conservative Muslim living in this neighborhood, you would want that from your neighbors. So I do think that's important and the respectful and right thing to do.
Yes.
But if you're, I would wear my hijab over there, and then when I came like to Zamalek to go out to eat, for example, I would just take off my hijab,
Mm-hmm.
in the Uber, which I'm foreigner, and by the way, that's very normal
Mm-hmm.
for foreigners to do this. Almost all the foreigners I know will keep like a hijab in their purse or something, and then we'll put it back on when we're going to go look at a mosque and go tour here or go shopping there.
Yes.
It's normal. Foreigner, you can do this stuff, okay? Egyptian woman, you won't see any Egyptian woman taking her hijab off in the Uber. No, I'm sorry, you won't see that. But any foreigner, yeah, you see this a lot. And so I would just respect the area where I was living and then dress how I wanted when I left. And I think that is I did the respectful thing. I'm not going to leave the other area I was living and looking like this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you should know where are you and what type of clothes it's better to
Yeah.
wear. Yeah.
I've met some foreigners, they complain, oh, the men are staring at me, where are you living? I'm in Nasser City. What do you expect to happen in Nasser City when you're walking around, like that? Come to Zamalek if you want to dress like that, or go to Mahdi. It's fine, it's normal there, no one will bother you. No one stares at me, it's normal. And the fact, if anyone does stare at me, it's not really the men, and my husband sees it more than me. He'll be like, why are these girls looking at you like that? All the girls are always looking at you. I don't know, honey. Like, I don't even notice anymore. I really don't even see it. But apparently, according to my husband, it's mostly women that are looking at me, like, staring. We were in Alexandria one day, and there's less foreigners there than there are here in Cairo.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman was staring at me. I didn't know. I was looking at something in the window shopping. This woman stopped traffic. She stopped in the middle of the road, and the cars were coming. They stopped, and they were honking at her, and she's like in a trance, just staring at me. I was like, look, hey, look. And I'm like, what? Oh, this girl's staring at me. Like, and she wouldn't stop. And she just, like, came out of her trance and kept going. I'm like, what the hell? But in Alexandria, they're not as used to foreigners as they are in Cairo, especially where I live. We have most foreigners, they live here in Cairo.
Yeah.
But I don't mind if people stare at me. I'm different, okay? It's fine. I'm in Zamalek. If someone's going to stare at me, even here, it's okay. I'm different. I look different than everyone. I find myself staring at other foreigners. Okay, I've been here that long. I'll see another blonde girl walking on. I'll be staring at her too. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're a foreigner. I can tell, like, oh, because you're so used to seeing, dark complexioned people with dark hair. That's like everyone
Yeah.
around you is like this one look. And then when you see someone with bleached blonde hair, yeah, you're gonna kind of notice that, okay? Like
Yeah,
it's
of
not even
course.
your choice. You're not even notice. You notice. I find myself staring. I'm like, oh, sorry, whoops, pulled an Egyptian on you.
Yeah, that's pretty normal, of course. It's not very common for them to see blonde woman, and for you, if you notice another one, so of course you will you will look at her. That's pretty normal thing. I agree. Yes.
And it's kind of cool too, because I'll have tourists. Zamalek is a touristy area. We have the Cairo Tower. We got all these nice boat restaurants, and
Hmm.
we got a lot going on over there. And they'll see me sometimes, the tourists, and they'll say, "Oh, she's foreign." They'll come up to me. Do you know where there is to get a good drink around here? Like someone from wherever country. And it's so much fun to like give them directions. But oh, hey, yeah, go here, go there. Do you know where Mohammed Mazhar Street is? It's great. I like to help people. I'm like, oh, welcome to Egypt.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amira, it was really nice talking to you. I really appreciate that you find time to meet me today. I got so much information, and I'm sure it's very useful for other girls who were listening to us, who couldn't listen. I will save our interview, and they can see it later. But I find a lot of information for myself because I haven't been to Egypt, and it was really interesting for me. And I think it's good that you told how is life there, because there are, as I said, there are so many stereotypes, and people don't really know
Yeah,
how is real life in Egypt, and they just think that. Especially about women, they just think that all women are sitting at home, cover themselves, and husbands are
yeah,
just pressing them and just don't give them any freedom, and it's completely wrong. That's why I really
yeah,
like to talk.
absolutely.
Yes.
Egypt is a safe country. Anyone wanting to come visit, please do. It's safe. We don't have, all the crazy extremism like they talk about on the news. It's
Yes.
safe. I've lived here for 7.5 years almost, and I've never had a safety issue. It's always been, a really good place to be, and I recommend it. I really do.
Mhm.
Travel, see the world, go experience different cultures and worlds than your own. It opens your mind in ways I can't really describe, but it does change a lot of things about you when you do see different
Yeah.
worlds and meet different people from different countries. It does something to your mentality that I can't really describe in words, but
Yeah,
it really
exactly. Yes,
affects me.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will surely come to Egypt now. I met so many wonderful girls who are living there, so it's in my list now. Must visit. Really, it's really amazing and
Yeah.
ancient country. Yeah, I don't know why we haven't visited yet. We went only to Tunisia, but I think it should be different. I cannot compare how is Egypt, but maybe some things are similar. I don't know if you have ever been to Tunisia.
No, I haven't been to Tunisia, but I mean, there are some similarities, but I think Tunisia is probably, in my opinion, the most liberal of all the Muslim countries.
Hmm.
They're more open, I think. Them and I would say Lebanon is also pretty liberal, but to an extent. But Tunisia, they have, like, for example, it's illegal to have 4 wives there.
Hmm.
And Islam, it's, you can have up to 4 wives.
Yes.
And all the other countries allow this. Tunisia does not. So they
Hmm.
have, like, a different kind of way of governing their society. I
Hmm.
think they're more slightly separating religion from government. But I'm not, 100%
Hmm.
educated on that because I've never been there. I've only read about it.
Yes.
I've been to the Gulf, and Egypt is very different than the Gulf. I've been to Qatar and the UAE,
Hmm.
and Egypt in comparison is a vastly different world. So
Hmm.
not all Arabs can be lumped in the same boat. There's definitely a lot of differences depending which country they come from,
Yes.
and they might even have a completely different culture depending on which Arab country they reside in.
Hmm. Yeah. That.
So, I hope anyone watching this does benefit a bit from some knowledge of Egypt, and this is just my perspective
Yeah. Of
and
course.
my experience here. and keep in mind that every foreigner that comes to Egypt, whether for love, work, or whatever, their journey is always going to be very unique compared to another person.
Yeah, of
So this
course.
is just mine. I do hope that I did help share how to protect yourself if you are with an Egyptian guy, like, to just realize, yes, there's exceptions to everything, and, do remember that about everything I said, so you don't feel
Yeah.
offended. And, if you want to read more about some of the articles I wrote, it's a women's only group, but you're welcome to join. It's called Talk Egypt with Ameera, Ameera.
Yeah,
And you can also
maybe
follow
you can
me.
mention it under our interview, so you can just give the link so that
Sure.
if someone is interested, I'm sure they will join. Because I have
Yeah,
some
I'll just
Egyptian
leave it
wives
to you.
in my yes as my followers, yeah. So I'm sure they will be interested to read your book, and you have YouTube channel, so maybe you can share.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ameera in Egypt. I will share that as well. Yeah.
yeah.
But for that channel, though, besides doing some podcasts with a fellow foreigner in Alexandria, most of my videos are travel related. I do
Hmm.
show like some different areas of Egypt and some different resorts and places like that. So you see like some of the different beautiful sides
Hmm.
of the Egypt
Yeah.
experience.
No, that's would be really interesting. I'm sure for people, especially who has never been in Egypt. So please share the links with other girls, yeah, and maybe someone would like to join your group on Facebook or on YouTube, and maybe your Instagram as well. I know you're not so active here, but still, if
Yeah,
someone is
Instagram isn't
interested.
really my thing. I do throw up some of my photography of Egypt. I throw it up on Instagram, but I'm not super active at all on
Yes,
it. It's
yes,
just there.
yes, I
All right, well, I
understand.
appreciate it. And I hope we get to talk more soon. It'll be
Yes,
really
of
lovely.
course. I would love to talk again. I really want to organize some joint meeting, like with other girls, maybe who are married to Egyptian or maybe from some neighboring countries, and discuss different things. I think it should be really interesting to listen to different opinions. Yeah, yeah. So
That sounds lovely.
yeah, it's not our last conversation for sure. It was really nice
Me
talking to
too.
you. Yeah,
So
thanks a
nice to
lot.
talk to you as well.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you
very
for
much. I
having
will
me.
save our conversation so everyone can see who won't be able to watch it with us live. Yeah, so let's keep in touch. Yes, and I hope we will meet
We'll
again.
do it.
Yeah, I'm sure we will meet again soon. I will try to organize something. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. It's really interesting to
Okay.
me. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you so much. I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank
Mwah.
you. Bye. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.
Thank you.